Have you ever heard of a disaster caused by molasses? It sounds almost like a joke, but in 1919, a real-life tragedy struck Boston in one of the strangest industrial accidents in American history. Today, we're diving into a film that brings this unbelievable event to the screen, exploring not just the disaster itself, but the human stories of bravery, loss, and the fight for justice that followed. This isn't just a story about a sticky flood. It's about a community pushed to its breaking point and the everyday heroes who emerged from the chaos. Our story begins in Boston's North End, a bustling, vibrant neighborhood packed with immigrant families. The year is 1919. The streets are alive with the sounds of street vendors haggling, workers heading home, and children playing games like stickball. It's a picture of ordinary life, but looming over it all is a 5-story tall steel tank, property of the Purity Distilling Company. It's a silent, ominous presence, and every time the camera focuses on it, you can't help but feel a sense of dread. This tank holds over 2 million gallons of molasses, and it's the quiet giant at the heart of our story. We're introduced to our main character, Anna Sweeney, a sharp and observant teenager who works alongside her father in their family-owned bakery. Anna is the heart of the film. She's not just kneading dough and serving customers, she's paying attention. She's one of the first to notice that something is deeply wrong with the molasses tank. She hears it creaking and groaning at odd hours, strange rumbling sounds that seem to vibrate through the ground. She tries to tell her father, but he, like many others, dismisses it as the normal noise of old machinery. He's a good man, but he's tired and focused on making ends meet. Anna's warnings, however, are a seed of suspense that the film plants early on. She can't shake the feeling that the tank is a ticking time bomb. Then we meet Tommy Sloan, Anna's best friend and the neighborhood delivery boy. He's a bit of a wisecracker, zipping through the crowded streets on his bicycle, but he's also Anna's confidant. His delivery route takes him past the massive tank every single day. He tries to act tough, but even he admits to Anna that the noises scare him. The friendship between Anna and Tommy feels real and natural. Their light-hearted conversations and shared moments of concern ground the looming disaster in a personal, relatable way. We care about them, which makes the impending danger feel all the more real. The film then cuts away from the neighborhood streets and into the quiet, paper-strewn office of City Inspector James Keller. This is where we get the bureaucratic side of the story. We learn that Anna isn't the only one who's worried. Dozens of official complaints about the tank have been filed for months. Residents have reported leaks, strange noises, and visible strain on the steel seams. But each complaint has been met with delays and excuses from the company. Inspector Keller is a man caught in the middle. He knows the tank is a hazard, but he's battling a system of corporate corner-cutting and insufficient city funding. He's not a villain, he's a portrait of institutional failure. His frustration shows us how disasters aren't always born from malice, but from a slow, creeping neglect of thousands small decisions to look the other way and hope for the best. Back in the North End, the tension continues to build. The tank's groans become louder, more frequent. In one particularly chilling scene, a group of kids are playing in the street when the ground beneath them suddenly trembles. They pause, laugh it off as a passing train, and go back to their game, completely unaware that they just felt a tremor from the failing tank. This moment is a masterclass in suspense, showing us just how close the community is to a catastrophe they can't even imagine. The film uses these small, escalating moments to make the audience lean in, knowing that something has to give, and then it does. The climax arrives on a surprisingly mild winter afternoon, January 15th. The scene is quiet, almost peaceful. Anna is in the bakery with her father. Tommy has just ridden up on his bike, his face pale. He tells them he just heard the loudest groan yet, a sound like tearing metal. Before anyone can fully process his words, a deep, deafening crack, like a cannon shot, shatters the air. The sound echoes across the entire neighborhood, and for a terrifying second, everything goes silent. Then, the unthinkable happens. The massive steel tank ruptures. It doesn't just leak, it bursts apart. A colossal, 25-foot-high wave of dark, thick molasses explodes outward, moving at an estimated 35 miles per hour. The film portrays this with terrifying realism. This isn't slow, oozing syrup. It's a powerful, destructive tsunami. The force of the wave is immense. It lifts buildings off their foundations, shatters windows, and splinters wooden carts into pieces. The sound is a symphony of chaos, crashing, screaming, and the horrifying, churning roar of the molasses itself. People are caught completely off guard, scrambling for their lives, trying to get to higher ground as the sticky tide consumes everything in its path. Anna and Tommy react instantly, pulling her father toward the back of the bakery just as the wave smashes through the front door, shattering the display windows and flooding the shop. They barely escape. When the wave finally slows and settles, the world outside is unrecognizable. The once lively streets are now a silent, alien landscape, coated in a thick, brown goo filled with debris, shattered furniture, and stranded belongings. The air is cold, and an eerie quiet has replaced the sounds of the city. Anna and Tommy climb out onto the bakery's roof and look out at the devastation. The scale of the destruction is staggering. But in this moment of shock, something shifts. Instead of despair, we see determination in their eyes. This is where the film's focus pivots from disaster to rescue. The second half of the film is a powerful testament to community spirit. Firefighters, police, and ordinary neighbors immediately spring into action. They work together in the freezing cold, wading through the thick, waist-deep molasses that begins to harden like concrete as the temperature drops. They use planks to create makeshift bridges, clearing pathways, and desperately trying to pull people free from the sticky trap. Anna's character truly shines here. She takes charge, organizing a makeshift aid station. Using what's left of the bakery's supplies, she provides food, warm blankets, and comfort to families who have lost everything in an instant. She's no longer just a curious teenager. She's a leader, her quiet strength inspiring everyone around her. Tommy is right by her side, using his knowledge of the neighborhood's back alleys to guide rescuers and find survivors. Weeks later, the initial shock has worn off, replaced by grief and anger. The community gathers for a public meeting. The room is filled with exhausted, heartbroken people whose lives have been shattered. They demand answers. Their homes are gone, their businesses ruined, and their warnings were ignored. It's a tense, emotional scene. Inspector Keller stands before them, a broken man. He finally tells the whole truth. He admits the tank was built cheaply, that it was known to be unsafe, and that the repairs were deliberately delayed to save money. His confession isn't an act of heroism. It's a painful admission of his and the system's failure. It's a powerful moment about accountability. Then Anna steps forward. In a quiet but firm voice, she addresses the crowd and the city officials. She doesn't speak with anger, but with a profound sense of justice. She talks about the trust the community had placed in the city and the company to keep them safe. She talks about responsibility and how the lives of everyday people should never be the price paid for corporate shortcuts. Her speech is the emotional core of the film's resolution. It's a rallying cry that unites the community and finally forces the city to take action, leading to new regulations and holding the company responsible. The film's ending fast forwards to the spring. The neighborhood is still healing. Workers are still chipping away at the hardened molasses, and a faint, sweet smell still lingers in the air, a constant reminder of the tragedy. But there are also signs of rebirth. Children are playing in the streets again, shops are slowly reopening, and the sound of construction fills the air. In the final scene, Anna and Tommy walk through their recovering neighborhood. They reflect on the horror of what happened, but also on the incredible bravery and unity it revealed. The disaster left a permanent scar, but it also forged a stronger, more resilient community. The film ends with a quiet, powerful shot of the North End coming back to life, followed by a title card that reads, "Inspired by the true events of the Boston Molasses Flood, January 15th, 1919. This film isn't just a disaster movie. It has a deeply human story about how an ordinary community faced an extraordinary tragedy and found the strength to rebuild, demand justice, and ensure that such a preventable disaster would never be forgotten. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the courage of everyday people can light the way forward. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into incredible stories from history. See you in the next one.